Hey, what's up, amigos? How you doing? Hope you're all having a great midweek. So today for the Dish Wars results, we're going to do a delightful, cheeky little meatloaf. I say little, we're actually going to make two because I'm making some for the family as well. So we're also going to do some nice little creamy mashed potato, some nice little cheeky veggies, and also going to show you how to make a very nice, delicious gravy to go on it. Also, we're going to have that nice little glaze to go on the meatloaf as well. I think that's it. I think that's everything I need to kind of cover for today. We'll get the mix for the meatloaf sorted, and then we can get them into tins. So I'm going to use the bread tins. So we're going to get the mix up first. I'm actually making quite a bit, so I've got about 2 kilos of beef, which is quite a considerable amount. So making 2 loaves. So I'm sharing it with the family. I've got a large onion here. I was going to use 2 small onions, but I'm going to use this one. So this will be plenty. Between the two, so we're going to use that. We're going to dice that down. I'm also going to get 4 cloves of garlic, I think. Yeah, medium size. If they're a bit small, maybe 6. And we're also going to have a little pick of fresh thyme as well. So fantastic. So you want about 2 to 3 sprigs of thyme. So yeah, maybe a little bit more. The only reason now, you could crush these down. The only reason why I'm taking the skins off is because I'm going to put this through my microplane. But if you're going to put it through like a garlic crusher or something, yeah, you could just kind of crush it and take the skins off, so, you know. Right, these are a little bit big, so I might actually dice these down a little touch. These are pretty big leaves. Usually I don't, but these are humongous, so I'm going to give them a little bit of a dice. Not too much. Right, so I'm just grating down the garlic cloves. Right, so what we're going to do is dice this down. So I'm going to slice this vertically. Now, obviously, the more layers you get out of this, not vertically, horizontally, the more layers you're going to get out of this, the more finer dice you're going to get. So the more lines you can get in there, the better. So now we're going to cut it vertically, get it the right way around. And I'm making sure I don't cut right into the root. You cut right into the root, what you're going to do is pretty much it'll fall apart. You're going to have trouble with it. So you want it holding together. Super important. Right, so let's dice this down. This has got quite a lot of onion. I'd probably say half of this if you're going to do. So I'm going to do 2 loaves. So I've got 2 kilos of meat. So hence why I got a lot of garlic in that. So anyway, let's get a pan on. Let's put this onto medium heat. Start heating that up. And we're going to also add a tablespoon of oil to the pan as well. Right, so let's add the onions. Add the garlic without spilling this all over my stove like I usually do. I'm just going to go a little bit more steady-handed with it. I'm just going to cook this out for about 5 minutes until they softened up. So we're just basically taking that harshness out of the onion before it goes into the meatloaf. Obviously let it cool down as well. Super important. The best possible thing you can do is grab a tray, just pour them straight on there. And then just pretty much spread them out. So basically all you're doing is increasing the work surface area. So it's actually cooling down 10 times as quick rather than it being clumped together in a hot pan. So that's actually going to take a lot less time to kind of cool down. So here comes the first lot. Bloop. So if you want to use Dijon or yellow, I'm using yellow mustard, that's fine. Whatever you fancy. So I'm going to go for 2 tablespoons with this. Nothing too bonkers. I also want the egg in that, but I also want some cheeky Worcestershire sauce. 1, 2, 2.5. I wanted 1.5, so 3. I'm going to go with 2 little cheeky eggs. I say little, but they're actually large. So I lied. Right, a little bit of pepper. Yeah, the 2 eggs are in there. A nice little pinch of salt in here. So we have the Worcestershire sauce, mustard, 2 eggs, salt, the pepper. Obviously our fantastic onions, and that's cold, so that can go straight in. Onions, garlic, and thyme. So those are cooked off, but they've cooled right down. They're nice and cold now. So as you can see, increasing the work surface area will actually cool things down a lot quicker. So super important if you want to do that. And it's the same with sauces and things, but the only thing with sauces you need to bear in mind, sometimes they might get a skin, so you might have to put like parchment paper over it, or, you know, just to kind of stop it preventing that skin. All right, so let's get that mix in. Do you have breadcrumbs? It's not needed. People add breadcrumbs to mixes like meatloaf and burgers, and I find them very unnecessary. Unless they're like really, really sloppy, you just keep mixing it. Keep mixing it and it'll come to a firm solution. That's the thing. People will be like, oh, it's too wet, let's add it. No, just keep mixing it. Keep mixing it. So there's one. Where's my other one? I have got another one in here somewhere. Right, chat, wish me up luck. I'm going in. Oh, Gordon Bennett. If I don't come out, you know why. I got lost. Oh, here it is. Oh, God, that was loud. Sorry, chat. Right, I got it. I'm doing this for the family, so if you want to do half of that recipe, just half it. Just for, like, you know, one loaf. Alrighty. So, I'm going to split this in half. This will probably be the smaller one. I say the smaller one, right? So we've got two nice little kind of cheeky meatloafs ready to go. I need to wash my hands. I'm going to wipe down the unit. We got 4 tablespoons of ketchup in here. 3 teaspoons of brown sugar. We also got about 1.5 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce. Or 2 tablespoons, sorry. And that's about it. So we're going to put this glaze on halfway through cooking the meatloaf. I'll tell you what, we're going to get the mash on next, so we can get that cooking. So let's get a large pan out. We'll start peeling down those potatoes. Right, so let's give this a peel down. Right, so what we're going to do is cut these up into nice equal size portions, or best as you can. It's obviously not the same. So I'm just going to cut that one up a little bit more. So roughly about the same size. You don't want like really big ones and then really small ones. Reason for it, the big ones will take longer to cook. The small ones will cook and they'll overcook. So you will want them to cook the same time. Put it onto a high heat. I don't want these boiling like rapidly or too crazy. Just a nice steady boil, just above a simmer. And we're just going to add little 2 pinches of cheeky Maldon sea salt in there as well. I guess we can start turning the oven on. We can prep up the veggies. I'm going to start making the gravy probably very shortly. So let's turn the oven on. So I'd say 350, 180 Celsius. We're going to bring that up to temperature. Once it's up to temperature, we're going to put the meatloaf in. Halfway through cooking, we're going to brush it with the... hold on. Going to brush it with the glaze. And then we're going to pretty much just kind of let it finish cooking. So the reason why you're going to add it halfway through the glaze, the reason for it is so it doesn't totally dry up. So I want that glaze to be still a little bit moist. We've got these carrots to use up, so I want to use them. I'm going to slice up these carrots. So these are just a little bit of garnish, just to go with it. Slice this up. Right, so I'm going to make the gravy next. So carrots are on, potatoes are on. So let's make that gravy and we can just have that ticking over in the back. Onto a low heat to begin with. I need to make my roux. So what do you mean roux? So it's the base which will help thicken up our gravy. So I'm going to use a little bit of Marmite. I've also got some chicken stock I've got bagged up here. I'm not going to go too crazy on the roux. I just want to make about, what, 50 gram or so. So this is about probably 60 here of butter. So I'm just going to cut this up. If you want to ask for like measurements, so we put about 70 grams. I would say about 80 grams of flour. So you just, whatever butter you have, just about 10 or 20 grams over of flour. So we're going to make a nice little roux. Once that's all melted, which it has, beautiful. There we go. So that's what you're looking for, that kind of sandy kind of like texture. So just want to let that cook out for a couple of minutes, and then we're going to start adding other things like the chicken stock. I'm going to actually add, where is it? Oh yeah, my Marmite, for a bit of richness and umami kind of flavor. So I always recommend, if you're making gravies, try it out if you can get hold of it. If not, Bovril or maybe Vegemite if you're in Australia. You know, those are good alternatives. Probably going to go for about 2 teaspoons of Marmite. If you can't get hold of Marmite, that's fine. As I said before, if you wanted some kind of concentrated beef stock or Bovril or Vegemite, whatever you can find. And if you got more stock, that's fine. Beautiful. So this is looking great. So we're going to add this little by little. Super important. Why not add it all at once? If you add it all at once, you can end up with a lumpy gravy. So super important. Just exactly the same as when you're making a bechamel sauce or a white sauce. You just want to add it little by little. You don't want to go too crazy. Look at that. Super smooth so far. Still need to add more liquid, but no lumps. And top this up a little bit more. Now this might look a little bit thin, but don't worry. The flour will help actually thicken this out to the right consistency that you want. So as you can see, whoa, that's a little liquidy, chef. Don't worry, it's going to cook out. It's going to thicken back up. You're probably going to need to add a little bit more liquid. So just bear that in mind. If it's a little thin, don't panic. It just needs cooking out first. Potatoes aren't going to be too long, so I need to get the butter and the milk on, so we're going to do that next. You're going to ask me how much butter? I got about 70 grams, and how much milk? About 400 ml. Right, so I'm going to mash this for a bit. We're going to have a little season. I've got a little bit of this left here, so I'm going to give those a little bit more of a glaze. We'll give it that nice little kind of shine. Just a little touch more on there. Now, obviously, you can put a little bit more potato on here if you want. I'm just doing this for plating's sake. So I like to play around with my food sometimes. See how smooth this mash is. Pretty damn smooth, if you ask me. Certainly not going to waste any. Beautiful. Oh my god, it smells so good. Guys, I can't resist it. It's very hot. Look at that little juicy gem right there. Just practice makes perfect, as they say, right? So, you know, nothing too bonkers. Doesn't have to be fancy. You can put more on. I'm going to go too crazy with this because just for picture purposes and whatnot. But yeah, if you're at home and you're doing this yourself and it's not for Instagram like for me, then yeah, you can probably whack on a bit more gravy and a bit more mash, and do you know what I mean? The meatloaf we made, so the mix we had onions, garlic, and thyme. We cooked down, and then we just laid it out on a tray to let it cool down before adding it to the raw meat. We added 2 eggs. We also added about 2 tablespoons of mustard, about 3 tablespoons of Worcestershire sauce as well. We also added salt and pepper, bound it together. Did not need breadcrumbs. Bound together, super juicy, doesn't need breadcrumbs. So straightforward carrots, peeled, topped and tailed, sliced, cooked till tender, easy peasy. Mashed potatoes, so we cooked washed and peeled the potatoes, cut them into equal sized portions. Bit of salt, and then boil them down until they were soft and tender. Drain them off, back in the pan to dry out. Put a little bit of milk and butter on. I say a little bit, but a little bit more than that. And then we just added it little by little, mashing it down until nice and creamy, or using a ricer. And then obviously for the glaze, we used a ketchup, Worcestershire sauce, and a little touch of mustard mixed together for a glaze. And I put the glaze on halfway through so it didn't burn. And then put a little bit more when it finished. So absolutely beautiful, delightful. So a little bit of brown sugar as well in that glaze. So anyway, so there it is. I hope you had a great Wednesday. Thank you so much for the love today. I really appreciate all the support. You guys and gals are so very wonderful. Thank you for supporting me. As this is my full-time job, it means a lot to me to keep this going. You guys just surprise me every month, so thank you so much again. I'll be back tomorrow, 10 a.m. Mountain Time, for those cheeky sweet and sour pork bear buns. But anyway, have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you tomorrow. Much loves, and thanks for the support. Bye for now, amigos.